Hey, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are, Jaci-O and Orlando himself wearing my new merchandise. See, it says Jaci-O Group. I was just playing with these. The colors aren't very poppin'. So if I actually got t-shirts, I'm thinking, who would ever wear a t-shirt with my real estate business on it? Other than my husband and my kids. But then on the other hand, I don't think my kids would wear it either. Teenagers. We do have those. We do have Post-its, and they're kind of cool. Sticky notes. And so we got pens and Post-its, and we have some mugs. So if you become a fan and you want us to maybe send you some merch, make a comment.
Send us some referrals. First.
Like and share our page because we're so exciting.
And give us some referrals from Corpus or Houston, and
selling.
We'll take care of you.
I need some listings. I mean, I'm always loving all these buyers that are coming from all over. By God's grace, we escrowed a contract for a wonderful lady coming from Georgia. Where is Benjamin coming from?
He's just he was transferred from his job.
Louisiana, though, or something. I think he was coming from out of state, but we had someone else coming from out of state. And then I have another person in Dallas, and I have some other people, military couple that came into town from being in another duty station. So we are very experienced, and we are here to help you. Now, today, this topic about how to properly prepare, get ready to run when buying or selling real estate. I know it gets kind of redundant, but each after this weekend, we escrowed 3 contracts, and we're hoping to escrow another one tomorrow. And it made me think of this. There's so much to it, even though it's similar, it's different in the sense that, for example, a house came back on the market, right? And the real estate agent had initially wanted to work with me. I had a different buyer actually, and try to convince talk to his client about, not convince him because it's not his choice, but to let him know that, I'm an experienced agent and, I know what I'm doing and we're going to work through stuff. The seller apparently didn't like my buyer's lender, and so they went with another client. So with that being said, those people backed out after a couple of days, and the listing agent called me back, and it all worked out because the first client who put the offer in on this house ended up getting another house. And then when this military couple came in, I was like, oh my gosh, this is your home. I feel like it's divine providence. I could be wrong, but I don't make everything like spiritual or weird. But it would just seem pretty serendipitous, didn't it? I mean, they were pretty excited. So when I was discussing the property with my clients, and there were some things that they were concerned about regarding the house, and like a little bit of wood rot.
So after you saw the inspection report?
Yeah, we got a copy of the inspection report, and they were like, oh my gosh, no, it's just too much. We don't want to deal with it. And I said, look, you guys know me by now. I'm not interested in making a sale. We didn't care when they didn't get the other home because it was like really small. So it's like, it's really small and overpriced, whereas this is bigger. And so you have more room to function, right? So you're going to have a better sized home that's more functional, even though it's a higher price due to the market. It's a much more functional home for the short term and the long term. And if for some reason they end up keeping it or not wanting to sell it down the line, it's a very marketable home. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, this video is trying to encourage you not to just panic when you see these things on an inspection report. The things that I see day in and day out, I will tell you if it scares me or if it's a money pit or, right? Mm-hmm. So, we will talk you out of a home before we talk you into it.
So if it's a pig with lipstick, oftentimes you go to homes, you see new paint, everything looks great. I mean, they spend a lot of time in painting and sometimes even staging the home. But then when you start looking at the little things, little nitty-gritty things, it needs a roof. I mean, there was some foundation work done in the past that it wasn't done correctly, or like remember the house, like they did we come to find out I needed another 2 piers or 1 more pier so the whole thing could be completed. So just be cognizant of,
what's been slapped together or what's been kind of maybe just needs a little maintenance. You know,
And
there's
it
a
is
big
great that you're
difference.
concerned, but it is also great that you have the inspection report because you're one step ahead as to know what you need to do in the future, what you're willing to negotiate or not.
Right.
You know,
So one thing that kind of scared him was, oh, the electrical, it's got electrical issues because there's neutral and grounds on the same lug. It's called double lugging. That was an old code. Okay. It's not, some say it could be unsafe, but you know, the master electricians I've spoken to are like, it's not a big deal. It's not unsafe, but we can undo it. It's usually maybe $150, $150, $175. And it's just a change in code. It's kind of like your car changes a little bit and they might change this part of the airbag or they might change that. I mean, it's still good. It's just the code changed. GFCI protection, that's the little outlets in your bathrooms near water and the sinks in the kitchen. And those are easy to fix. We don't worry about that. There's going to be a little bit of wood rot, easy to fix. And in Texas, you know, and probably a lot of places in Hawaii, you know, sometimes there's evidence of rodents. It could be mice, it could be rats. And what you do is you get a what is it, exterminator or whatever, and you have them check for activity because every once in a while they could potentially get in through the vents or whatever that aren't sealed right. Roof shingles need repaired. Roof vents are rusty. They need to be replaced. That's okay. It's not too much. And we can negotiate it because if they don't do it for us, they're going to have to do it for somebody else.
Right.
And so my point is, look, if you understand that these aren't deal breakers and we're not going to rush forward in a terrible home, but there are things we can work through and say, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're not trying to be difficult, but you didn't know and you didn't tell me there were damaged shingles or a rusted roof vent. You did say the wood rot. You know that you have to fix that. Can you please get an exterminator? Can you please have the electrician do the double lugging? And some other, maybe there's some maintenance stuff that maybe you don't necessarily need to ask the seller to do, but you might say, and I'd like a $500 credit towards my closing costs because I won't ask you to do it, but I'll deal with it after closing. But in order to do so, I need to free up my cash that I was going to bring to close so that I can have the cash after closing to deal with it.
And that's why it's critical. So you communicate that to your client so they know what the strategy is. We might offer a little more than when they're asking for. Why? Because we would like to fix A, B, and C after closing. Okay, so we can take care of that. Or you have, the seller to fix everything before you close. And some of them, you can go back and forth. We have one in Houston.
Some things must be done, right?
We have one in Houston that we negotiated as to what we wanted to be fixed for sure. And the rest was going to be given in credits.
Right.
So that's why it's critical communication at all times. And
understanding what's
and
important.
you remember we talked about that. It was a company or an agent that barely communicated with his client.
Yeah.
And his client didn't know what was going on at all with the contract, with the title, none of that stuff. And so just be careful when you're shopping for real estate agents. Find out a couple things. Not only how much business they have done, but how they operate in the market. Okay, and don't be afraid to ask them, would you mind giving me a few referrals, people you work with? Can you send me a few numbers?
I've never done that, but people usually read my reviews.
But if you are looking for an agent, there's nothing wrong about you asking for, hey, can you give me 2 or 3 referrals, people I can talk to?
Yeah, and we're going to do some video referrals here on YouTube that will help you hear from our clients and how their process went and how they feel about it. We'll leave you with this. When you're selling a home, similar type of thing. Look, if you know your roof is old, chances are you better be expected to make some roof repairs or maybe come down on the price a few $1,000s to account for that roof that maybe has 3 to 5 years left on it. Okay. I'm not going to say, oh, you have to replace the roof. That's $8,000. But I might say, you know what? You really should be prepared to come down $3,000 because that roof may not need to be replaced today, but it's getting there. Okay. And I tell the buyer the same thing. Hey, the seller is not going to give you a new roof when the roof is okay. Okay. They're not going to give you a new air conditioning system when the air conditioning system's functioning. They could service it for you, but they're not going to give you a new one because it's working. Right. So you have to know that well, it's so old, it looks ugly. Yeah, but it's still working. And so, anyway, just be prepared when you move forward. And, you know, when you work with us, we'll help you with that. Okay. So have a great day or night. Bye. Honey.
Bye.